Hi, hello, my name's Ollie Bliss and this is my channel Book Draw. For those who don't know, I enjoy looking at queer fiction and occasionally I make images out of it. Like today I'm actually making an image, and that's only because it's taken me this long to put one together, but I've been more ambitious, I think, because I've been using my new models, which well, it's only one, but I've taken 2 pictures and then played around and cropped it to make a more challenging and interesting, hopefully for you guys, composition, which is of quite a different scale, but so I better go straight into this. Basically, this image has taken me a very long time to complete. I've rocked up over 8 hours worth of footage, and the pillar actually took me 3 afternoons while I was on holiday just to draw. That one's a hand drawing, which I've incorporated into the overall image. But breaking the image down, what it is actually all about. The Counterfeiters is a 1925 book by André Gide, who's a French writer, and this is basically one of the most accomplished pieces of writing, I believe, that I've ever read. I just think it's amazing and epic. Now, you're going to have to bear with me, but this scene is of a love interest between an uncle and his nephew, but it's actually really cute. Like, if you can just put aside the whole slightly incestuous storyline, it's 1925 in Paris, after all. The actual, just the writing in this meeting is really beautiful and lovely, and it's because they're of a time when they don't have mobile phones, they don't have email, they are also not allowed to be interested in each other as a starting block or set of barriers. However, they are drawn to each other and they end up having this meeting. And the way in which it occurs is because Edvard sends a postcard to his sister, and the sister is obviously Olivier's mum, and it says how he's gonna basically be rocking up at this station at a particular time, at a particular station in Paris. And so I use Gare du Nord just because I've actually been there recently, and I saw that architecture and I thought, oh, I can use that. That's going to work well for this image. So I've incorporated it in. Anyway, so he signposts Oliver to this meeting point, and he's hopeful, but he doesn't know whether or not, like, he has the same air of interest in him and a kind of sense of desire in the way that he does, and he worries that he's too old for him, but he is drawn to him and he thinks that there's something there. And in the meantime, you've got Oliver, who is like into him, possibly not fully able to really realise it at that stage, but he knows that he has the opportunity to get to know Edvard by turning up at this station at this particular point. And Edvard is so excited when he sees him that he's like, oh, I really wanted you to be here. He's not that explicit, but he comes on a little strong, because seeing as neither of them are supposed to like really want the other to necessarily be there. They're just supposed to be relatives, and Oliver thinks it's a bit presumptuous of him, actually, to kind of go, well, why should I be here? And so he kind of stutters and stumbles and says that he had some business to take care of. And but you see this kind of insight to both of them, and the way that they both initially really wanted to be there, but they both basically failed their first meeting with each other, where they had the opportunity to kind of hang out privately outside of the eyes of the rest of their family, and their emotion and kind of desire just got them too confused and caught up. And I thought that was like a really realistic kind of real situation which could occur, and you're just kind of left going, oh guys, get it together. Anyway, so now you can see me drawing Bernard, who is Olivier's bestie, and he realizes that he's up to something interesting, so decides to follow him. And he's like, who is this man who that he's followed? And it's an important moment because Evard, in his haste and excitement of meeting Oliver, he is playing with his ticket from his cloakroom, which has his suitcase, and it's heavy, so he put it away, and he was rolling it between his fingers, and he absent-mindedly throws it on the floor while he's just talking away. And Bernard sees this and realizes what it is and picks it up, so he's able to like have access to who this person is and find out a little bit more about him. What happens next is like a series of unfolding stories which interlock with each other in really quite a creative and crafty way, and it keeps you really interested in the separate stories of each of the individual characters, and they do really interlock with each other cleverly. But the whole book is wrapped up around this idea of authenticity and authentic living. And I thought this particular scene was really authentic in that, and even to the point where he's rolling up the paper and tossing it aside just because he's so kind of frazzled. I thought that was really great. But Evard himself, he's actually writing a book called The Counterfeiters, and he makes references within this book, the actual novel, of the themes and what he's trying to strive for in uncovering a sense of what a virtuous, authentic voice actually is. And I wanted to try and capture some of that in this image. So I'm actually drawing from real references from different pictures across Paris. So there's different crowd scenes from different train stations, one of which is actually from Manchester, and I incorporated that deliberately because part of this is also about what rings falsely, and because he's able to construct stories within this which are fabricated or based on a truth and incorporating them in. So the image right now I'm drawing in is an image of a ship, and I'm doing that because in the story there's these references to an accident which happens on a ship which goes down, and people are trying to claw at the lifeboats to try and get on board, and that's clearly a reference to Titanic. So he's drawn in a story which is based on fact, but he's converting it then into a different truth, a truth which is in relation to this story. And I just wanted to be able to make a nod to that as an element, but he's playing with that, the role of storytelling, the role of what truths are, the wrong way we describe our own stories and how we reenact them in different ways. And it's repeated thematically throughout this book on lots of different levels. So with the images of each of the crowd members which have been drawn into it, I've played around with their perspectives, I've modified their individual shape and made them look more kind of painterly or to fit into the image itself. But I've tried to also make them a part of this particular narrative, this particular story, and even down to like the posters in the background. There is one which is of an art exhibition which happened in 1925, which is the year of the book, and then in the right hand corner is the face of the Counterfeiters, which is based on the cover art of the original novel by André Gide. So hopefully those references are just kind of peppered into this image itself. And then I wanted to kind of drown out that noise and also kind of relate to that black and white kind of period in terms of they didn't have colour images, and instead keep them, the two central characters, drowned in a bit of light, because I want people to focus in on them as this special moment within the characters, which actually only happens quite at the start of the book. It's like page 72, and there's heaps more to uncover, but I'll go into that in more detail in my full review, so you have to come back. Anyway, this is enough from me. Catch you later. Bye. Oh, also go to arty stuff on my playlist for these type of videos. Okay, bye.